In my work for Tourette Canada, I was sent a letter that I was supposed to translate from French to English. I didn't know what it was going to be, but when I started reading it, I found out it was a coroner's report of a young woman who had Tourette syndrome and took her own life. I was shaken, especially since it was the kind of thing feelings that I had dealt with. And she took her life because she had Tourette syndrome. And in the letter, they asked that we make people more aware of the risk of suicide among people with Tourette syndrome. And I made a mistake last year after my speech, and I'm sorry about that. Because when I posted the trailer to my speech for Tourette Canada's conference 2019, I omitted the part after where it cut off, where I was talking about the suicide risk. And I feel that now it's time to bring up that little piece of clip and maybe even end it a little more positively. And I'm going to play more of my speech. You can see the full speech on my channel. I will link it in the description. But out of respect for this young woman and for all the people like her who just want to give up, or maybe who have already, let's pay a little nod and say, I kind of see you. I kind of feel it too. So here it is.
The nitty-gritty. So I've been talking about the ways to tell OCD and Tourette apart. But what I want to segue more into is the nitty-gritty of Tourette in particular. What makes Tourette difficult and what can we do about it? There are a lot of misconceptions about Tourette syndrome. There was a time when if you typed into Google the phrase, Tourette is, the results based on previous common searches would show Tourette is fake. Tourette is not real. Tourette is bullshit and Tourette is funny. It's difficult to live around a mentality where people tell us that we are not experiencing one of the most significant things that we've ever dealt with. Or if Tourette is seen as funny, it's only part of the picture. Because yes, it can at times be funny, but in doing so, much of the experience is ignored. I'd like to now go into what can be one of the truths of the syndrome. You can't die of Tourette syndrome. That's why they call it a syndrome and not a disease. It's not degenerative. Your cells don't deteriorate and your body doesn't wither. The symptoms are mostly shown exteriorly. You twitch and you fold and you shout. It's that little noise you make with your nose or the way that your eyes cross and look up. Everyone has issues. No one is excluded. If they aren't dealing with something now, they have before or they will later. The difference between Tourette syndrome and what the majority of people deal with is you can't always hide tics. Though some people can mask their tics, hold them in, or make them come out in ordinary seeming ways, Tourette can be obvious. With Tourette, when the twitching of the muscles on our faces are mistaken for snares, when misfiring neurons force out words that make us seem disrespectful, when our bodies betray us in fits of movements, and we can't help but look up at the sky that we can only wish would swallow us whole, when people sneer back, cuss back, treat us like we're faking, when they disregard our intelligence and think we must be crazy, when they go the other route and say that we're inspiring despite knowing nothing about us but the twitches, congratulations. You got out of bed. You did normal people things when you aren't normal. And here, I thought I was normal. I thought I was real. I thought my skin felt like endless stretches of person. I thought I was me. inside of a fascinating organism that's disregarded for the bumps in my step, for the silence eaten up by that loud howl. If I'm not those stretches of skin that do their best to contain me, then why am I here? Let's read that sentence again. You can't die of Tourette syndrome, but there are those who wish they could. I can say, you are more than unpredictability, more than twitches, more than noises, more than that handful of pills. There are days you still wait on that sky to swallow you whole, but maybe that's not disappointing. The sky is endless. Maybe you don't want to be. There are some that may be uneasy that are going to have. Why bring up something so depressing? I say it's not just depressing, for some it's a reality. Tourette isn't just symptoms, it was part of our human condition. Those affected may be sitting here today, or they may not. But maybe you know someone who is. Let's not sweep this under the rug when the suicide rate for individuals with Tourette syndrome is 4 times higher than the average. With OCD, the rate is 10 times higher. This is us. This is real. This is today. Let's not get uncomfortable and shrug this away. We're not just going to talk about how bad it is, though. We're going to talk about how it can get better. And I don't just mean saying it can get better. Let's talk about how. So I'm lying in that proverbial dirt and I'm wondering what the point is, because there's always a point. There had to be one of those important life lessons to draw from this. I realized that a lesson was learned in my silence. I took the blows and didn't blink. I needed to have blinked. I needed to have expressed, fought, and the lesson learned was that next time, and there will be a next time, I would stand taller, and I would stand louder. If this isn't the accepting world that I thought it would be, then I will do my part to make it be. That's what weekends like this are about. Let's break down the stigma. Let's be innumerable. I will use my voice, join it with your voice, and any voice willing to stand with ours. We will stand louder. We can use our words, but we can also use our hearts to set an example of what living with Tourette should be. Do the things you need to do. Don't hide. Live the life you deserve. Stand with pride for your neuro uniqueness and be the difference that you want to see in this world. The world won't change without us. We are indispensable. Make your goals, live by them, lead with them, lead loudly, because with our examples, others will know where to turn and lead their own journeys for themselves. With our guidance, a misunderstood condition will break away from its current state, and everyone will know what Tourette syndrome means, or what it leads to. Strength. Slowly, the world is understanding and there will be less room for ignorance. I've been told that the more room you give to the light, the less room there is for the darkness, and I believe this is true. The darkness doesn't stand a chance on a day like today, where each of us knows what it's like for that match to go out. Each of us knows what it's like to keep it alive. When we lose the light, maybe it's time to become the light. In the words of Dylan Thomas, do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Let this become our day of remembrance for a time when the darkness lost the fight to our grit and spit and determination to not let tomorrow be what it was yesterday. Tomorrow we live freely, take freely, and it's not about fixing us, but accepting us.